They say Vegas is where people wake up married to strangers, but I never thought Seoul would be my version of that nightmare. Except my accidental husband wasn't some drunk tourist or charming bartender. No, I woke up married to Kang Min-jun, Seoul's most feared mafia boss. And the worst part? He planned the whole thing. 24 hours. That's all it took for my life to completely fall apart and somehow get infinitely more complicated. One minute I'm catching my boyfriend cheating, the next I'm drowning my sorrows in expensive whiskey with a gorgeous stranger. Fast forward through the best worst night of my life, and suddenly I'm signing marriage documents I thought were fake, wearing a traditional Korean wedding dress, and sealing my fate to a man who runs half the organized crime in South Korea. Now I'm dodging bullets at family dinners, staring down crime lords, and somehow catching feelings for the man who trapped me in this beautiful, terrifying nightmare. This is the story of how Amanda Hayes became Amanda Kang and lived to tell about it. Amanda's fist connected with her boyfriend's jaw before her brain could catch up with her body. The hotel room in Seoul spun around her, or maybe that was just the rage making her dizzy. Marcus stumbled backward, and the woman in their bed, screamed and scrambled to cover herself with the sheets Amanda had picked out specifically for this trip. "Baby, wait!" Marcus started, blood trickling from his split lip. "Don't you dare call me that." Amanda's voice came out deadly calm, which scared her more than if she'd been screaming. 3 years. 3 years of her life wasted on this man. She'd used her entire savings for this vacation, thinking it would fix whatever had broken between them. Turns out what had broken was his ability to keep it in his pants. She grabbed her purse and walked out, ignoring Marcus calling her name, ignoring the curious faces of other hotel guests peeking out of their rooms. The elevator ride down felt like descending into hell, except hell was probably better company than the disaster her life had become. Seoul's nightlife hit her like a wall of neon and noise. Amanda had no plan, no direction, just the desperate need to be anywhere but that hotel. Her phone buzzed with messages from Marcus. She blocked his number and kept walking until her feet hurt, and her anger had transformed into something worse. Humiliation. How had she not seen it? All those late nights he claimed were work meetings. The way he'd stopped looking at her like he used to. She'd blamed herself, thinking maybe if she was prettier, funnier, better somehow, he'd love her the way he promised he would. The bar she stumbled into was all dark wood and soft lighting, the kind of place that probably cost more for one drink than she'd spent on groceries in a month. She didn't care. She needed something to make the pain stop, even if just for a few hours. "Whiskey," she told the bartender, sliding onto a leather stool. "The expensive kind. Actually, make it a double." The first drink burned going down. The second one burned less. By the third, she'd stopped counting. The bar filled up around her. Beautiful people in expensive clothes speaking Korean and English, and languages she couldn't identify. She felt invisible among them, which was exactly what she wanted. "That's a lot of whiskey for someone drinking alone." The voice came from her right, smooth and accented. Amanda turned to find a man settling onto the stool next to her, and her alcohol-soaked brain had to work to process what she was seeing. He was gorgeous. Not magazine handsome, but the kind of attractive that made you forget how to breathe. Sharp jawline, dark eyes that seemed to see right through her, black hair styled perfectly despite the late hour. His suit probably cost more than her car. "Maybe I like drinking alone," Amanda said, but she didn't mean it. The truth was, she desperately didn't want to be alone right now. "Then I'll just sit here quietly." He signaled the bartender, ordered something in Korean. A small smile played at the corner of his mouth. "I won't even look at you." Despite everything, Amanda laughed. "You're looking at me right now." "Am I? My apologies." But he didn't look away, and neither did she. His name was Min-jun, he told her. Just visiting Seoul for business, he said, which Amanda found funny because he sounded as Korean as the bartender. He didn't ask why she was drowning herself in whiskey, didn't pry into her obvious misery. Instead, he told her about the city, pointed out the window at the glittering skyline, and explained which buildings held which stories. That one there, he gestured to a sleek tower in the distance. They say a man built it for the woman he loved, but she married someone else. So now he lives at the top, alone, looking down at the city that should have been theirs. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard, Amanda said, but she was leaning closer to him now, drawn in by the richness of his voice and the way he smelled like expensive cologne and danger. Is it? Or is it romantic? He loved her enough to build a monument to it. He loved her enough to let her go and torture himself forever. That's not romantic, that's stupid. The words came out harsher than she intended, fueled by whiskey and her own fresh wounds. Min-jun studied her for a long moment. Bad breakup? The worst. Amanda drained her glass. Caught him in our hotel room with someone else. On the vacation I paid for. We were supposed to be fixing things. Then he's an idiot. Min-jun's voice dropped lower, intimate despite the noise around them. Anyone who would hurt you doesn't deserve you. It was a line, Amanda knew that. A smooth, practiced line from a smooth, practiced man. But God, she needed to hear it. Needed to feel wanted by someone. Anyone, after watching Marcus choose someone else. You don't even know me, she said. But her hand had somehow found its way to his arm, feeling the expensive fabric of his suit and the solid muscle underneath. I know you're beautiful. I know you're hurt. And I know that whoever made you feel like you're not enough is blind. His hand covered hers, warm and steady. You want to forget about him for a while? Every rational thought in Amanda's head screamed at her to say no. She didn't do this. She didn't go home with strangers in foreign countries. She was the responsible one, the one who planned everything, who never took risks. Look where that had gotten her. Yes, she whispered, and Min-jun's smile was both a promise and a warning. The elevator to his penthouse was made of glass, and Amanda watched Seoul spread out beneath them as they climbed higher and higher. Min-jun stood behind her, close enough that she could feel the heat of his body, far enough that anticipation coiled tight in her stomach. Her reflection in the glass showed a woman she barely recognized, wild-eyed, reckless, free. Last chance to change your mind, he murmured against her ear, and she shivered. I'm not changing my mind. His penthouse was all floor-to-ceiling windows and modern furniture that looked like art installations. Amanda barely registered any of it. The moment the door closed behind them, Min-jun's hands were on her waist, spinning her around, and then his mouth was on hers, and nothing else mattered. He kissed like he was claiming her, possessive and demanding, and Amanda met him with equal intensity. All the anger and pain and humiliation from earlier transformed into pure want. She needed this, needed to feel desired, needed to be someone else for just one night. Wait, Min-jun pulled back, breathing hard. There's something I want to show you first. Show me? Amanda's brain was foggy with alcohol and desire. Now? He smiled, mysterious and magnetic. Trust me. You'll love it. He led her to a different room, and Amanda gasped. It was set up like a traditional Korean wedding ceremony. Red and gold silk draped everywhere, lanterns casting warm light, intricate decorations she didn't understand, but found beautiful. A small table held official-looking documents and an ornate pen. What is this? She breathed. A traditional payback ceremony setup. Tourists love it. You dress in hanbok, go through the motions, take photos. It's like a cultural experience. Min-jun gestured around the room. My company uses it for international clients sometimes. I thought, since you're in Seoul, since tonight is about new beginnings. That's actually kind of sweet. The whiskey made everything seem magical, dreamlike. The room spun slightly, but in a good way. Do we get to wear the costumes? If you want. He was watching her carefully, something intense in his gaze she couldn't quite read. We can do the whole ceremony. Sign the decorative papers, take the photos. Something to remember tonight by. Amanda laughed, giddy and careless. A fake wedding for my fake relationship's funeral. I love it. The hanbok he helped her into was the most beautiful thing she'd ever worn. Crimson silk embroidered with gold thread. Min-jun wore traditional men's attire, and somehow he looked even more devastating. He guided her through the ceremony steps, explaining each one in that hypnotic voice of his. Now we bow to the ancestors, he said, and they bowed. Now we share a drink. And he handed her a small cup of something sweet and strong. Now we sign the documents. And he placed the pen in her hand, guiding her to write her name on papers covered in Korean characters she couldn't read. Everything. Blurred together. The ceremony, the drinking, Min-jun's hands on her skin as he slowly removed the hanbok. They made it to his bedroom eventually, and the night became a tangle of sensation and whispered words she'd barely remember. He was gentle and rough by turns, attentive in ways Marcus had never been, and Amanda let herself drown in it. At some point, she remembered laughing about something, Min-jun's smile against her shoulder. At another point, more drinking, more touching, the world narrowing down to just the two of them and the massive bed and the city lights beyond the windows. When she finally fell asleep, it was the deepest sleep she'd had in months. Amanda woke to sunlight stabbing through her eyelids and a headache that felt like someone was taking a hammer to her skull. She groaned, rolling over, and immediately regretted it when her stomach lurched. Where was she? Slowly, carefully, she opened her eyes. Unfamiliar ceiling, unfamiliar bed, unfamiliar room with those floor-to-ceiling windows showing Seoul in bright morning light. Memory came back in scattered pieces. The bar, Min-jun, the ceremony, the night itself. Oh God. Oh God, what had she done? Amanda sat up too fast and had to close her eyes against the wave of nausea. She was naked under silk sheets that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Her dress from last night was draped over a chair along with something red and gold. The hanbok. The fake wedding ceremony. She should leave. Get dressed. Sneak out. Pretend this never happened. Chalk it up to the worst day of her life leading to the most reckless night of her life, and move on. But then she saw the papers on the nightstand. They looked official. Too official. Amanda's hands shook as she picked them up, squinting at Korean characters and official seals, and was that her signature? Her actual signature? Not some decorative calligraphy? The bedroom door opened and Min-jun walked in carrying a tray with coffee and what looked like hangover remedies. He was fully dressed in a different expensive suit, looking infuriatingly put together while Amanda felt like death warmed over. Good morning, he said pleasantly, setting the tray on the bed. Coffee? What are these? Amanda held up the papers, trying to keep her voice steady. Oh, those. He sat on the edge of the bed, completely calm. Those are our marriage documents. The room tilted. Our what? Marriage documents. Legal, official, filed with the Korean government as of last night. He sipped his own coffee, watching her over the rim. Congratulations, Amanda, you're married to me. That's not funny. But her voice cracked, because something in his expression told her he wasn't joking. It's not meant to be funny. The ceremony last night was real. The papers you signed were real. We're legally married. He set down his coffee and turned to face her fully. I needed a wife. You needed to forget about your ex. It worked out perfectly. Amanda couldn't breathe. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. You're insane. That was fake. You said it was for tourists, I lied. His voice was matter-of-fact, almost apologetic. Well, not entirely. Those ceremonies exist, but what we did last night was the actual legal process. You signed a marriage certificate, Amanda. You're my wife now. Amanda's coffee cup slipped from her hands, splashing across the expensive sheets. She didn't care. She couldn't process what he was saying. No, no, you can't just marry someone without them knowing. That's not legal, It's completely legal when both parties sign the documents willingly, which you did. Min-jun handed her a napkin for the spilled coffee, still maddeningly calm. Korean marriage law is quite straightforward. Two consenting adults, proper documentation, filed with the district office. We're married. I was drunk. Amanda's voice rose to a shout. I didn't consent to anything, I thought it was fake. You seemed very enthusiastic about it at the time. He pulled out his phone, and Amanda's stomach dropped as he showed her a video. There she was, giggling in the hanbok, signing papers, toasting with Min-jun, saying something that sounded an awful lot like I do in English while he responded in Korean. She looked happy, radiant even, and completely, obviously drunk. This won't hold up, Amanda said desperately, grabbing the sheets to cover herself. Any court will see I was intoxicated. They'll annul it immediately. You can't… Amanda. Something in his voice made her stop. It was harder now, edged with steel. Let me be very clear about something. Do you know who I am? Some rich businessman who's apparently also a psychopath. Kang Min-jun. He said it like she should recognize the name. When she just stared at him blankly, he continued. My family controls most of the organized crime in Seoul. Drug trafficking, weapons, gambling, protection. If it's illegal and profitable, we have our hands in it. I'm the heir to the largest crime syndicate in South Korea. The words didn't make sense. Amanda's brain refused to process them. You're joking. I don't joke about my family business. He stood, walking to the window with his hands in his pockets. My father died 6 months ago. To officially inherit his position and keep the family united, I need to be married. Old tradition, stupid rule, but my uncle won't recognize my leadership without it. He's been positioning his own son to take over, and if I don't solidify my claims soon, there will be a war for control. So you tricked some random drunk woman into marrying you? Amanda's voice shook with fury and fear in equal measure. You manipulated me. You lied to me. I needed a wife. You needed to forget your problems. He turned back to face her. I didn't pick you randomly, Amanda. I'd been at that bar for an hour before you arrived, watching, waiting for the right person. Someone visiting, someone alone, someone with no connections to Seoul who wouldn't complicate things. The calculation in his voice made her feel sick. You targeted me. I chose you, he corrected. And if it helps, the attraction was real. You're beautiful, intelligent, and you have this fire in you that I found. He paused, searching for the word. Compelling. The rest of the night, everything that happened between us, that was genuine. Oh, well then, I feel so much better about being tricked into marriage by a criminal. Amanda scrambled out of bed, taking the sheet with her, looking frantically for her clothes. I'm leaving. Right now. And I'm going straight to the police. The police won't help you. Min-jun's voice was soft but absolute. Half of them are on my payroll. The other half are too scared to touch my family. And even if you found one honest cop willing to listen, by the time they processed your complaint, my enemies would know about you. Amanda froze, her dress clutched in her hands. What? You're my wife now. That makes you a target. He moved closer and she backed away until she hit the wall. My uncle, my competitors, everyone who wants to see me fail, they'll all know about you within hours. Some random American woman who married into the Kang family? They'll assume you're important to me, that you're a weakness they can exploit. But I'm not important to you. You just said you picked me because I was convenient. Her heart was hammering so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. They don't know that. They'll come after you anyway, just in case. Kidnapping, torture, murder. These people don't take chances. He stopped a few feet away, giving her space. If you leave now, unprotected, you'll be dead within a week. Amanda slid down the wall, the sheet pooling around her. This couldn't be real. 24 hours ago, her biggest problem was a cheating boyfriend. Now she was married to a crime lord and apparently marked for death. This is insane. This is actually insane. I know it's a lot to process. Min-jun crouched down to her level, his expression almost sympathetic. But I'm offering you a deal. Stay married to me for 6 months, play the role of devoted wife, attend the necessary functions, help me secure my position. Once my leadership is uncontested and the family is stable, I'll give you a quiet annulment and enough money to start over anywhere in the world. You'll never have to see me again. 6 months? Amanda's laugh came out broken. You want me to pretend to be married to you for 6 months? You'll be protected, well compensated, and perfectly safe as long as you're under my protection. The alternative is trying to navigate Seoul alone while multiple crime families hunt you down. He stood, extending his hand to help her up. It's not much of a choice, I know. But it's the only one you have. Amanda stared at his hand, at the man who'd destroyed her life in the span of one night. Everything in her wanted to refuse, to run, to fight. But the logical part of her brain, the part that wasn't panicking, knew he was right. She was trapped in a foreign country with no money, no friends, no resources. And if even half of what he said was true about his enemies, she took his hand and let him pull her to her feet. I hate you. That's fair, Min-jun said. Get dressed. We have a family dinner tonight, and you need to meet everyone before the rumors start spreading. The car that took them to Min-jun's family compound was armored. Amanda could tell by how heavy the doors were, how thick the windows looked. 2 men in black suits sat in the front seat, and neither of them had spoken a word since they'd gotten in. She'd tried texting her best friend back home, but Min-jun had gently taken her phone. Security reasons, he'd said. I'll get you a new one, encrypted. Now Amanda sat in silence, watching Seoul pass by through bulletproof glass, wearing a designer dress Min-jun had somehow produced in her exact size. The compound appeared ahead. High walls, security cameras everywhere, guards at the gate who nodded respectfully as they passed. This looks like a prison, Amanda muttered. It's one of the safest places in Seoul. Min-jun straightened his tie. Listen carefully. Tonight, you smile, you stay close to me, and you don't speak unless spoken to directly. My family is traditional. They won't expect much from you yet. Because I'm American? Or because I'm black? The words came out sharper than she intended. Min-jun looked at her, something almost like respect in his eyes. Both, honestly. They'll underestimate you. Use it. The house itself was massive, traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern luxury. Inside, Amanda could hear voices, lots of them. Her palms were sweating. Min-jun took her hand, and she almost pulled away before remembering this was supposed to be a marriage. Smile, he whispered. You've got this. The dining room fell silent when they entered. At least 20 people sat around a long table, all of them turning to stare at Amanda. She felt their eyes cataloging everything about her: her skin, her hair, her dress, her posture, judging, calculating, dismissing. Everyone. Min-jun's voice carried authority that made people straighten in their seats. This is my wife, Amanda. We were married yesterday. The explosion of Korean was immediate. Everyone talking at once. Some. Standing, one older woman actually gasping. Min-jun responded calmly in Korean, his hand tightening on Amanda's when she tried to step back. An elderly man at the head of the table raised his hand, and everyone went quiet. He had to be in his 70s, with steel-gray hair and eyes that reminded Amanda of Min-jun's. Sharp, calculating, missing nothing. "Uncle?" Min-jun said in English, clearly for Amanda's benefit. "May I present my wife?" "How convenient," the old man said, also in English, his accent thick. "The day before the family council meeting, you suddenly have a foreign wife no one has met or vetted. Love doesn't wait for council meetings." Min-jun guided Amanda to 2 empty seats. "I saw her, I wanted her, I married her. Isn't that the Kang way?" A younger man across the table snorted. "The Kang way is strategic marriages that benefit the family. What does this nobody bring us?" "Watch your mouth, cousin." Min-jun's voice dropped to something dangerous. "You're speaking about my wife." Amanda wanted to sink through the floor. Instead, she lifted her chin and met the cousin's stare directly. "I bring myself. If that's not enough, maybe the problem isn't me." The table went silent again. Then, surprisingly, the old uncle laughed. A sharp, barking sound. "She has spine. That's something." He leaned forward, studying Amanda like she was a puzzle to solve. "Tell me, girl, what do you know about our family?" "I know you run organized crime in Seoul," Amanda said, because lying seemed pointless. "I know Min-jun needed a wife to secure his inheritance. I know I'm probably going to die here." "Amanda," Min-jun started, but his uncle waved him off. "Honest, I like that." The old man's smile didn't reach his eyes. "You're right to be afraid. This life kills people. But if you're smart, if you're loyal to Min-jun, you might survive." He switched to Korean, addressing the whole table, and Amanda caught Min-jun's name several times. Woman about Min-jun's age stood up from further down the table. She was stunning, elegant in a way that made Amanda feel like a child playing dress-up. "I need to speak with her. Alone." "Absolutely not," Min-jun said immediately. "I'm your sister, not your enemy. Unless you don't trust me with your precious wife." The woman's smile was razor-sharp. 5 minutes. The garden. Min-jun looked torn, then nodded reluctantly. 5 minutes, Ji-won. That's all." The garden was beautiful and freezing. Amanda hugged herself, wishing she'd brought a jacket. Ji-won lit a cigarette, offering one to Amanda, who shook her head. "Smart," Ji-won said. "These things will kill you. Then again, so will my family. So what's the difference?" She took a long drag, studying Amanda through the smoke. "You really didn't know who he was?" "Not until this morning. And you're still here. He said I'd be killed if I left." "He's not wrong." Ji-won flicked ash onto the perfectly manicured lawn. "My brother is many things. Ruthless, calculating, occasionally cruel. But he doesn't lie about danger. If he says you're a target, you're a target." "This is insane," Amanda said for what felt like the 100th time today. "Yesterday, I was a normal person with normal problems. Yesterday, you were invisible. Today, you're a Kang. There's no going back from that." Ji-won moved closer, lowering her voice. "I'm going to give you advice, and you're going to listen. Min-jun acts cold, but he's protective of what's his. You're his now, whether you like it or not. The family will test you, push you, try to break you. Don't break. What if I'm not strong enough? Then you die, and Min-jun marries someone else, and the world keeps turning." Ji-won's bluntness was almost refreshing. "But I don't think you're weak. I saw how you looked at my cousin when he insulted you. You wanted to throw something at him." "I wanted to throw the whole table at him," Amanda admitted. Ji-won's laugh was genuine this time. "Oh, you might actually survive this." She stubbed out her cigarette. Come on. If we're gone too long, Min-jun will assume I've murdered you and hidden the body. Back in the dining room, the dinner was being served. Amanda sat next to Min-jun, hyper-aware of every eye on her, every whispered conversation in Korean she couldn't understand. The food was incredible, but she could barely taste it. Min-jun kept his hand on her knee under the table, a gesture that could have been possessive or protective. Maybe both. Halfway through the meal, gunshots rang out from somewhere in the compound. Amanda's chair crashed backward as she jumped to her feet. Everyone else at the table barely flinched. Min-jun was already moving, pulling her behind him, his hand reaching into his jacket to pull out a gun she hadn't known he was carrying. Stay with Jiwon, he ordered, already heading toward the door where his men were shouting in Korean. Like hell, Amanda said, but Jiwon grabbed her arm with surprising strength. Don't be stupid. You'll just get in the way. Jiwon was pulling her toward a different door, away from the chaos. There's a safe room. Standard procedure. More gunshots. Closer now. Amanda's heart was trying to beat out of her chest. This was real. People were actually shooting at them, at her. What's happening? Probably Uncle's people testing Min-jun's defenses, or a rival family making a statement. Could be anything, really. Jiwon pulled her down a hallway, through what looked like a library, then pressed something on the wall. A panel slid open, revealing a steel door. Inside. Now. The safe room was smaller than Amanda expected, lined with weapons and monitors showing security camera feeds. She watched screens flicker between different views of the compound. Men in tactical gear exchanging fire near the gate. Min-jun barking orders to his men, bodies already on the ground. Oh God, Amanda whispered. Oh God, people are dying. Welcome to the family business. Jiwon was checking her own gun with practiced efficiency. First time seeing violence? I'm from Chicago, I've seen violence, but this is… Amanda couldn't finish. On one screen, she watched Min-jun shoot someone without hesitation. Clean, efficient, like he'd done it 1,000 times. Maybe he had. Different when it's your husband pulling the trigger? Jiwon's voice was almost sympathetic. You'll get used to it, or you won't, and you'll end up medicated like Uncle's third wife. Either way. The firefight lasted maybe 10 minutes, but it felt like hours. Amanda watched, the screens unable to look away, tracking Min-jun's movements. He was terrifying, calm under fire, directing his men with hand signals, taking cover when needed but never retreating. This was a side of him she hadn't seen, the predator beneath the expensive suits. Finally, silence. Jiwon checked her phone. All clear. Uncle's men are claiming it was just a probe, testing security. Min-jun's sending the bodies back as a message. Bodies, Amanda repeated numbly. He's sending bodies. 5 of them. That's actually pretty restrained for my brother. Jiwon opened the safe room door. Come on. You need to see the aftermath. It's important. I don't want to see… Not a request. Jiwon's voice went hard. You're a Kang wife now. That means you don't hide, you don't cry, and you definitely don't show weakness. Min-jun's enemies need to see that you're not afraid. That attacking this family doesn't shake you. Amanda's legs felt like water, but she followed Jiwon back through the house. The dining room had emptied. Outside, the compound looked like a war zone. Bullet holes in the walls, blood on the ground, Min-jun's men dragging bodies toward a van. Min-jun was talking to his uncle, both of them looking completely unbothered by the carnage around them. When he saw Amanda, something flickered in his expression, concern, maybe, or surprise that she'd come out. You should be in the safe room, he said, walking over to her. There was blood on his shirt. Not his, she thought. Hoped. Your sister said I needed to be seen. Amanda was proud that her voice didn't shake. So here I am, not hiding. Min-jun studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Good. He turned to address the family members who'd emerged from wherever they'd taken cover. My wife is stronger than she looks. Let this be a lesson to anyone who thinks she's a weak point. The old uncle approached, stepping over a pool of blood like it was a puddle of water. The girl has courage. I'll give you that, Min-jun. He looked at Amanda. But courage gets people killed in this world. You understand that? I'm starting to, Amanda said, fighting the urge to throw up. 5 of my men died tonight testing your husband's defenses. He killed them without hesitation. He'll kill more before this power struggle is over. The uncle's smile was cruel. Can you live with that? With being married to a killer? Amanda thought about Marcus, about the life she'd planned that had fallen apart in that hotel room. She thought about how Min-jun had looked at her in the bar, like she was something precious instead of something broken. She thought about the security footage of him checking on her safety, the way his hand had tightened on hers during dinner. I caught my ex-boyfriend cheating yesterday, she said clearly. Right now, being married to a killer seems like an upgrade. Several people laughed. Even the uncle looked grudgingly impressed. Min-jun's hand found the small of her back, warm and steady. The council meeting is tomorrow, the uncle announced to everyone. We'll see if this marriage is enough to secure your position, nephew, or if you'll need to prove your worth in other ways. He gestured at the bodies. Clean this up, and someone get this girl a drink. She looks like she needs it. Back in the car, Amanda finally let herself shake. Min-jun sat next to her, still covered in blood, watching her carefully. You did well tonight, he said quietly. People died. Your uncle's men died because he wanted to test you, and you killed them. And everyone just acted like it was normal. Her voice cracked. This is my life now? Watching people die at dinner? Yes. He didn't sugarcoat it. This is the life. I told you it was dangerous. You didn't tell me I'd have to pretend to be okay with murder. You don't have to pretend. Not with me. Min-jun poured her a drink from the car's bar, pressed the glass into her shaking hands. But in front of them? Yes. You have to. Pretend. Because the moment they think you're weak, the moment they think I care about you more than the family business, they'll use you against me. Do you? The question came out before Amanda could stop it. Care about me? Min-jun was quiet for a long time. I didn't expect to. But when I heard the gunshots tonight, my first thought was making sure you were safe. So maybe I'm starting to. He looked away, jaw tight. Which is a problem. Caring about people in this world gets them killed. Amanda drank the whiskey in one burning gulp. Then maybe you should stop caring. Too late for that. His voice was barely a whisper. I think it was too late the moment I saw you in that bar. The compound they returned to was Min-jun's personal residence, separate from the family estate. It was just as luxurious, but felt less like a fortress. Amanda went straight to the shower, scrubbing her skin until it hurt, trying to wash away the images of blood and bodies and Min-jun's calm face as he'd killed people. When she came out, wrapped in a robe, Min-jun was sitting on the bed with a laptop, still working despite everything. There are guards posted outside, he said without looking up. 3 in the hallway, 2 at the entrance, cameras on all access points. You're safe here. Am I? Amanda sat on the opposite end of the bed. Your own uncle attacked us tonight. Tested us. There's a difference. He closed the laptop. The council meeting tomorrow will determine if I'm officially recognized as head of the family. If I am, the attacks will slow down. Everyone will fall in line. And if you're not, then there'll be a war, and you'll be in the middle of it. Amanda didn't sleep. How could she? Every time she closed her eyes, she saw bodies falling, blood spreading across pristine floors, Min-jun's face empty of emotion as he pulled the trigger. She lay in the massive bed, staring at the ceiling, while Min-jun worked at his desk across the room. He hadn't slept either. Dawn came gray and cold. Min-jun finally closed his laptop and stood, stretching. The council meeting is in 3 hours. You need to be there. What? No. You said I just had to play wife at family dinners. That was before last night. Before you stood in front of the entire family and proved you weren't going to break. He walked to the closet, pulled out a black dress. Uncle will expect you there now. It's actually good for us. Shows strength. Amanda wanted to argue, but she was learning the rules of this world. Showing up was power. Hiding was weakness. Fine. But I want answers first. Min-jun turned, eyebrow raised. About what? Everything. She sat up, pulling the blanket around her. You said you watched me at the bar, that you picked me specifically. But Jiwon told me something last night after you went to deal with the bodies. She said you've been having me protected since we got married. That you paid off Marcus's debts to keep him safe because someone might use him against me. Min-jun's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Jiwon talks too much. Is it true? Your ex-boyfriend owed money to some very bad people. If they'd found out he was connected to you, even tangentially, they would have used him as leverage. So yes, I cleared his debts. Sent him back to the States with enough money to disappear quietly. Min-jun's voice was matter of fact. It was a practical decision. You could have just told me. Why? So you could feel grateful? Feel like I care? He turned back to the closet. Get dressed. We don't have time for this. But Amanda was already moving, crossing the room to stand in front of him. You do care. That's what scares you, isn't it? You picked me because I was supposed to be convenient, disposable, someone who wouldn't matter. But I matter now. Don't. His voice was low, warning. Don't make this into something it's not. Then tell me what it is. Amanda was close enough to see the exhaustion in his face, the tension in his shoulders. Tell me I'm just a transaction. Tell me last night in the car you were lying about caring. Look me in the eye and tell me I mean nothing to you. Min-jun stared at her for a long moment. Then, instead of answering, he kissed her. Not like that first night in the bar. This was desperate, almost angry, like he was furious at himself for wanting her. Amanda kissed him back just as fiercely, her hands fisting in his shirt. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Min-jun pressed his forehead to hers. You're not supposed to matter, he whispered. This was supposed to be simple. Nothing about this is simple. Amanda's hands were shaking again, but not from fear this time. I should hate you. You tricked me, trapped me, dragged me into this nightmare. But I don't hate you. I don't understand it. But I don't. Stockholm Syndrome, he offered weakly. Or maybe I'm just as messed up as you are. She pulled back to look at him. 6 months. That was the deal. You get your position secured, I get my freedom and money to start over. But what if... She couldn't believe she was saying this. What if I don't want to leave after 6 months? Min-jun's expression was unreadable. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe the worst night of my life led to something that isn't completely terrible. I'm saying maybe I could learn to live in this world if it meant being with you. Amanda laughed, the sound half hysterical. God, I sound insane. You've kidnapped me, basically, and I'm catching feelings. My therapist would have a field day. Amanda. Min-jun cupped her face in his hands. This life will try to kill you. My enemies will come after you. The family will never fully accept you. And I'm not a good man. I've done things that would make you run screaming if you knew the details. Then tell me. Tell me the worst thing you've ever done. He was quiet for a long time. I once tortured a man for 3 days because he betrayed my father. When I was done, I shot him in front of his family to send a message. I felt nothing. No guilt. No remorse. Just satisfaction that the job was done. His eyes searched hers. That's who I am. That's who you'd be choosing. Amanda should have been horrified. Part of her was, but another part, the part that had been growing since last night, understood something fundamental about Min-jun. He was a monster, yes, but he was honest about it. No pretending, no false promises, no cheating in hotel rooms while claiming to love her. Okay, she said simply. Okay? I'm not saying I approve. I'm not saying it's right. But I'm saying I see you. All of you. And I'm still standing here. She took a shaky breath. Besides, I punched Marcus hard enough to split his lip. We're all capable of violence when pushed. Min-jun laughed. Actually laughed. And the sound transformed his face. Comparing punching your ex to what I do is different scales. Same principle. Amanda kissed him again, softer this time. Now, you said something about a council meeting where I need to look like a proper crime lord's wife? The meeting room was all dark wood and serious faces. Amanda sat next to Min-jun at a long table, surrounded by family members and associates who'd made their fortunes through violence and fear. The uncle presided at the head, looking like a judge ready to deliver a verdict. The discussion was entirely in Korean, but Amanda didn't need translation to understand the tension. Men arguing, voices raised, fists hitting the table. Min-jun remained calm throughout, each responding in measured tones, occasionally squeezing Amanda's hand under the table. Finally, the uncle stood. He spoke in Korean first, then switched to English, eyes on Amanda. The council recognizes Kang Min-jun as head of the family. His marriage is legitimate, his claim is valid, his leadership is absolute. He paused. But understand this, girl. You are now part of this family. There is no leaving, no running, no changing your mind. You belong to us now. Amanda stood, ignoring Min-jun's surprised look. She met the uncle's stare directly. With all due respect, sir, I don't belong to anyone. I choose to be here. I choose Min-jun. And I choose to fight for this family if that's what it takes. She smiled, sweet and dangerous. But make no mistake, I'm not your prisoner. I'm your family. There's a difference. The room was silent. Then the uncle smiled, genuine this time. Yes, he said. You'll do just fine. Outside, after the meeting ended and they were finally alone, Min-jun pulled Amanda into an empty hallway and kissed her breathless. What was that for? She asked when they broke apart. For being stronger than I expected. For choosing this life when you could have fought me every step. He tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. For making me believe I might deserve something good for once. You probably don't, Amanda said honestly. But neither do I. After everything. So maybe we're perfect for each other. Maybe we are? Min-jun's smile was real, unguarded. Nothing like the cold mask he showed the world. Still want that annulment in 6 months? Amanda pretended to consider it. Ask me again in 5 months. Right now, I'm too busy being married to Seoul's most feared Mafia boss. How's that working out for you? She thought about everything that had happened, the betrayal that brought her here, the terrifying violence, the impossible choices. She thought about Min-jun's hands on her skin, his rare smiles, the way he looked, at her like she was something precious and dangerous all at once. Better than expected, she said, and pulled him in for another kiss. The city sprawled beyond the windows, full of danger and possibility. Amanda had woken up married to a monster and discovered she might be a little monstrous herself. Maybe that was okay. Maybe broken people finding each other in broken ways could build something whole. Or maybe they'd both burn in the fire they were creating. Either way, Amanda was done running, done playing it safe, done being the woman who let life happen to her. She was a Kang now, for better or worse. And Seoul was about to learn that you didn't trap a woman like Amanda and expect her to stay quiet. She had 6 months to decide if this nightmare was actually a dream. Something told her she wouldn't need nearly that long,